arcade games featuring Marvel and Capcom characters are fighting their way onto Nintendo Switch as one collection.
What?
Flash in X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
Ah, what's up?
Duke it out in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or...
Ah!
Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics launches on Nintendo Switch this year.
It's on all consoles and PCs!
There's no way Marvel's back. There is no way. They actually did it. It took 3 years. And everything from what I understood, it was impossible. It was not happening.
With the recently announced Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, I thought today would be a great opportunity to show off the Marvel vs. Capcom Wolverine. And it just so happens that in cinemas right now, Deadpool and Wolverine. So I feel like it's a perfect time to introduce you to my custom. Wolverine is by far the hardest custom I've ever personally done. Juggernaut was difficult, but this guy was even more so.
It's supposed to be a fucking RPG. What role am I playing? The fucking victim? Jesus fucking Christ!
Paint applications were definitely the hardest part about this custom. We have this blue inner crotch piece here, soft plastic, and the blue tends to transfer onto the yellow, which can be absolutely rage-inducing. Yellow is so incredibly hard to paint in general, so I'd have to sand back and then paint and sand back and paint and sand back
and paint and sand back and paint and sand back and paint and sand back and paint and sand back.
Dude, I must have done that about 20 times. It drove me absolutely nuts. In the end, I did have to acetone all the inside of the crotch, and then that way it wouldn't transfer onto the legs when articulated, which I'm incredibly grateful for now, because, you know, obviously that doesn't happen. So starting at the head, it was originally a Batman, Flashpoint Batman, and then I spliced a Marvel Legends head inside of this socket so that it would fit onto it. Now, as for paint details, I did repaint the whole head, resculpt it, gave it these extravagant wings, and the reason why is because that's the Marvel vs. Capcom design. It was really difficult to actually make this. I feel like I made the wings a little bit too big. Really difficult to sculpt those things. I made them a little bit too thick and a little bit too squared off, I reckon. And that's why they kind of come across that way. But you gotta remember, the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 design doesn't have a 3D format. So taking and translating a video game into a physical toy, it's a lot harder than it looks, to be honest, guys. When it comes to these wings, for lack of better wording, they were sculpted with green stuff first on top of the original Wolverine wings, and then they were sculpted with age to kind of lock them all into place. I'm pretty happy with them. I mean, I may go in and readjust them. I've readjusted them about 5 times already because I had to keep reworking it because I wasn't sure. But in the end, I settled for this particular reference right here. And this is what I based it off. It's kind of like a stylized Marvel vs. Capcom Wolverine, but it was definitely purposeful.
Tornado Claw!
You can get him in those
Tornado Claw!
poses, which is really cool. And then obviously you've got like the
Berserker Barrage!
which is really cool. You know, you can definitely pose this guy around, and he has phenomenal articulation due to him being a store collectible. The Marvel vs. Capcom design is very large and in charge, but also incredibly small.
I'm 5 foot something, but my bills all pay. On my tippy toes from LA.
He has these metallic, kind of like shoulder pads, I suppose, which are accurate to the design, but this time I put them in a metallic color that made them look a little bit extra special. He's got the black lines coming down. He's got this gradient of bright yellow and then the orangey yellow, and that goes throughout. It's very subtle. Goes for the back as well, the blue trunks. He's got the butt cheeks.
I'm touching myself tonight.
Added all the hair on the arms. These are all painted and are paint road free. So I'm going to start at the head. Now the head is somewhat limited, which is a shame, but you know, it is what it is. So he gets a bit of the side there, and a bit of a side there, bit of a down, and a bit up. So it's not bad. Obviously gets the full 360 butterfly joints. You can push them a lot further, they are storm joints. There's a shoulder raise, and you can pretty much push that all the way up, which is nice. Shoulder raise, pretty decent. Bicep swivel. As you can see. And then he has fallen ball joints, and they have a lot of range. Nice and stiff, which is kind of what you want, right? And they can be down. And then as for torso, he has full twist, which is amazing. Stone Collectibles, love it. Then he has a huge dip. And this is just the upper torso, so another huge dip on the other side. He has a huge down. And a huge gap. And this is just the upper torso swivel. And a huge back with a bit of gapping.
You call that a bit?
You're always going to have gapping when it comes to stone. Then, as for the ball joint here, you get the swivel, pivot, and it would go more than that, honestly. There's tons of range in that, which was modified as well into the Legends hips. So this is Storm until you get into here, which is all modified. Then you have the hip swivel, risen to cut, it's in the actual legs. Now these legs were gilly, but I cannot stand the ball joints that they use, the old school Stone Collectibles ball joints. I think they are by far the worst articulation point that anyone has ever created, which is crazy considering how much I love Storms. They wear out far too quickly. They had to be replaced for this custom 100%. I wasn't going to keep them. They're terrible. There's no quality, there's no durability.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Then knees, nice beautiful yellow coming through there, no rub. As for the back, same again, there's no rub. So he also has these flares, similar to his cowl, which are just floating, spiky. They should be in the Marvel vs. Capcom video game. He has a swivel in the boot, and the feet are Legends. That's my Stone Collectibles Wolverine. Incredibly happy with it. One hell of a journey. Incredibly difficult custom, but overall totally worth it, honestly. I absolutely love and adore this custom. It's probably one of my all-time favorite customs I've ever made. And what's really cool is I created a Sabertooth to go with Wolverine. So, as you can see, I feel like that scales perfectly.
You used to backstab people for fun. What turned you into a rat for hire? I heard you were gone soft. I was curious. I think maybe I heard right. Thanks for playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Your name will be inscribed in the pages of fighting history.